Taylor Machine Works has partnered with Proterra to integrate Proterra's battery technology into its electric port and industrial equipment. This collaboration includes electrifying Taylor's ZLC and ZEC series container handlers, ZRS series reach stackers, and ZH series for forklifts, ensuring that Proterra's battery systems are going to meet rigorous performance and durability requirements of heavy-duty industrial applications. It's going to be pretty critical at this point. We know Proterra pretty well, don't we?
Yeah, so we're heavily biased and big fans of Proterra. Let's
Yeah,
let's
we
be
are.
blunt about this. We really are. I mean, but you've got heavy duty equipment with
Mm-hmm.
Proterra's batteries on board. This isn't just kind of a plug and play situation, and both will know this. You've got to be able to simulate as on this one the real world conditions, test your battery performance, validate those machines won't turn into kind of the oversized doorstop potential the moment they hit the port. So without a solid validation process and simulation, you're going to risk potentially a PR disaster. So you're going to get ahead of this. And, Proterra is going to be simulating the batteries, and the batteries are prototypes, and they're all good. Now you're going to make sure they're integrated with what Taylor Machine Works are doing.
Yeah, and I think, as soon as batteries come in, it's always an interesting area. There's been a lot of news and volatility, certainly here in Europe, with what's gone on with the supply chain, which is obviously has a knock-on effect. And I think key here is supply chain integration, okay? Having that visibility from where you're talking, with the simulation and how they integrate it to the product. But, it's not like there's an abundance of this stuff. It's not readily available on the shelf, and it's fairly sensitive to climate conditions and storage. So if you've got, I think, a good collaborative platform there, which gives all the stakeholders from supply chain right through the visibility on progression of what's going on, means they can finely tune, that delivery of what they need in order to keep on track. I guess almost like a just-in-time kind of delivery system, really.
I wonder, just at a macro level, if that kind of battery supply chain challenges are going to dissipate a little this year, because obviously the automotive EV sector's a little cooler right now. That potentially can ease up these large battery for buses, trucks, kind of industrial equipment. Maybe that makes things a little easier for them, less pressures on them. But I think, I'm just kind of sticking to the guns I've got here. Yeah, you could, they could have that all coordinated, perfectly timed deliveries. But if those batteries fail under the real world conditions, you've got a real kind of train wreck going on. So I think real risk here is slapping these batteries into the forklifts without knowing they're going to survive that 10-hour shift, without them kind of spontaneously combusting, of course, but not that we're going to get that. It's really, I think that's the number one challenge. So simulation and testing is my solution on this one to that challenge. You've got high fidelity modeling. You've got simulation to validate the battery performance under various load conditions, because they're going to be, and then temperatures as well they've got to contend with before anything touches that production line. What do you think, Charlie?
So keeping with all your validation and everything in the virtual world, I'll agree with you. I usually agree with you, to be fair. I just elaborate a bit more. And you can take that into the world of digital twin, which just builds on what you've done there, hasn't it? It's using that that process, that validation process virtually, to avoid when you're doing things in the real life. Again, when you've got quite a precious commodity as a raw material or a component in something, it's probably even more critical then when you're getting things to the production line as well, minimizing the risk and cost reduction there. So I think if you took the journey we've talked about here, all the the methods of the supply chain integration and the simulation you got there, we've already got a very good foundation there for digital twin capability on the shop floor as well.
Yeah, great. The only thing I think we haven't touched on it here is compliance, because we're in that kind of high risk combustible kind of health and safety danger area of batteries. I think the other thing is to consider is traceability. So I think integrating those simulation results as well into the digital thread to make sure you've got traceability and compliance in line with those performance standards. I think that's going to be really important. So, the one thing we know about Proterra, they've got that traceability coming in. They've got that kind of thread in place. And now they need to transfer that into the Taylor machine. So they've got the same level of traceability, because it ain't just about the battery, it's about how it's integrated.
Yeah.
That will give them a very compliant solution, worst case scenario.